Hey everybody, this is me, Greg, and I just wanted to say I haven't done a live stream in such a long time that I was like, let me just go ahead and do one. I'm kind of just sitting in my car because I get the best signal here in my car. When I'm in the house, I don't get that great of a signal. So what I thought I'd do, I'd actually just talk with you some stuff and then make some cool art as we did that. I just got a few minutes. I don't have that much time, but I just wanted to kind of just touch base and say hey to all my people. So the last couple of days have been really cool. Let's see. So I have been with the family doing so many things, right? And so it's cool. Right now the time is 12:54, right? 24, March 5th, Thursday. And so what we've done is this. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of put some stuff up and let's see what happens is I'll just go do some work on some stuff. So what I have here, I might turn on the car because it is kind of chilly and I might just like, I don't want to freeze up. So if I turn on the car, you hear that, just know that the car is going to be like doing this thing. And also I think I have the headphones on, the Wi-Fi. No, okay, the Wi-Fi is off. Okay, the Bluetooth is off, so that way it's good. All right, so that's cool. So I'm gonna go work on some stuff. Let's go ahead and do that, right? Let's make some sculptures. And I have my trusty dusty, like my mint tea here, so I can have a little bit of mint tea as I'm drinking. And I just want to talk to you about some things. So, okay. So, I have more stuff on my members channel, but I'm going to talk to you about just general stuff here. And I'm going to do some cool stuff for you guys. Because what happens is, like, again, I haven't done any live stream for a long time. And I only have a few minutes because we're going to go to a museum today. And so what I've decided to do was get out my dusty tape right here. Close it up. Yes, close it up here. Right, keep that back. Keep that back. So here it is, right? It's my tape. And what I'm going to do is a couple of tape things with it, right? I always ask for just suggestions, and so I'd like to jump right into it. So this is going to be just a few minutes. I think it's like right at the time. It's not 12:55, but probably 1:30 or less, maybe 1:15. We're going to go ahead and stop, and I'm going to proceed on to leaving you guys. But just for a few minutes, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about some stuff we're making. Right? I gonna make something here. So let's go ahead and just kind of talk and stuff. So one of the things I was talking about, like the last couple of years, I was doing gig work before. I used to work at DoorDash, and I wrote a list of things that that happened when I was writing DoorDash, and of course I put it in my notes, and my notes are all messed up now, so I have to do it from memory, which is even better. So when I started doing DoorDash, right, I started doing gig work. I had the aspect of like I couldn't work my other job. I was working at a department. I was working at a hardware store, and you guys know the hardware store stuff. And so I was working there, and what happens was like I was unable to keep working there, so I had to find other types of work. So what we did was that we did some we're making commissions. We did commissions for people. We did artwork and things. And then what happened was like I did some commissions, some artwork. We did night markets, and it was really cool. Got a chance to do some commissions, and that worked out great. And then on top of that, it's like, hey everybody, how you doing? And so what happens is like, in the process of doing the gig work, we did that for about 3 years. 3 years of gig work. And everything that happened was like, got a chance to do some really cool gig work. I'm going to see if I make a person real quick. I'm going to make a person as fast as I can. I'm going to do this for 15 minutes. So let's see if you can just hang in the 15 minutes. I'll show you can make a person real quick. This is what happens here. Is this right? So I'm going to make a person. And the thing is, like, what the situation was like when I was working with the DoorDash stuff for 3 years. What it was like, I learned that the fastest way to destroy your car is to do gig work. Yes, it is, because your vehicle can only survive as much as you can. And yes, this is a traffic cone. This is a traffic cone, right? We found it, right? And it's a long story, but we found it. And the reason why traffic cone, because when I teach my daughter how to drive, I use that as one of the props so she can see. And so pretty much where I live here in New York, there's this thing, I call it the car cartel, and they actually do this thing where they guard the parking spots, right? And it's terrible. So not only do you have to compete with the whole bike things and city bike stuff, you have to compete with other drivers, and what do? Take up 2 spots. 2 spots, right? So for example, instead of having just one spot where you take 1 spot and you have 1 car, no, they put 2 cars in their spots, right? Or they may park where 1 car takes up 2 spots. Now back in the day, I know, based upon like, how it used to be, people used to care about each other, they would like come and cut your car up, slice your tires if you did that, right? If you took 2 spots. But no, not now anymore. They didn't do that anymore. So what they end up doing is that some people, they hold the spot, right? They hold the spot for themselves. And what they end up doing is like they later, when they come back later, when they come from work, they either have a motorcycle there or they have a car parked halfway in half spots. And then so they do it. But we don't do that because we only have 1 car. So if we had 2 cars, I'd consider. But also I'm saying to myself, like, if you have 2 cars, why in the world you guys are fighting for parking spots? It's not like you own the spots or anything like that, right? But that's beside the point. Anyway, so when I was doing gig work, right, I found that the hardest part about the gig work was that maintaining your own vehicle. Like if you ever order from DoorDash, right, which I never did, by the way, because I was a DoorDasher. right? And as a DoorDasher, I was the one working. And so as the one working, I was never on the other side of like, of receiving it. I was just receiving the pays and stuff like that. But, there's a couple things to that. If you ever get a chance to like look at that, there is something about that. So for the most part though, I have been like just thinking about how this all works out. And I said to myself, man, after the end of the day and all the wear and tear to my car, like pretty much that wore on the brakes, wore on the tires, insurance and everything like that. You got to pay for that. You got to like have your car running because you don't want to start and stop your car. Every time you do that, you mess with your battery. Then you mess with the heating and cooling system of your vehicle. You got the whole coolant system. And you got your heating system because when you do it in the wintertime, you have to make sure it works. And your water pump and all that stuff. And you have to make sure it all works out because when you do that, right? When you do that, what ends up happening is that you're in a situation, right, where you are putting your car at risk of wear and tear. Now, the car that we had before, we had a Dodge Caravan, right? A Dodge Caravan, 2000 Dodge Caravan, and that car was like we got it for $500, right? It was a mechanic, right? Mechanic. Not too far away. His name was the mechanic. I won't tell you the name because you go find him. But for example, as soon as we got it, he was like, "This car's as is." And it's like, "How much is this car?" It's $500. Because the car before that we had was a Plymouth Voyager, which is like, I mean, the companies are so similar, right? Plymouth Voyager, Dodge Caravan, all of them, right, were so similar in that what happens like you can actually swap out some of the parts because it was almost so similar. So in 1999 Plymouth Voyager to a 2000 Dodge Caravan, and we bought it in 2018. So that car was 18 years old when we bought it, right? 18 years old when we bought it, and we drove that car for 6 years until that car, we drove it into the ground. You had the car accident. You had the video that I had with the car accident and stuff like that. Well, yes, that car drove everywhere. We took that car to Florida. We took that car to Kentucky. We saw the Ark, the Noah's Ark, right? We went and saw Noah's Ark in Kentucky. We did that. The Genesis Ark, they have from Answers in Genesis. We drove all the way out there. We saw Niagara Falls with that car. We drove to Florida with that car. That car was the best. And so what happens? We used that car for DoorDash, and we did it. We drove that sucker into the ground, right? And so pretty much for $500, after all the repairs that we did to the car, right? It was one of those things where it was actually, we actually was really just kind of blessed to actually have the opportunity to just be able to like, do this thing and drive this car. And then so when the car accident happened in 2024, right? When the tires popped and stuff like that, the 3 tires popped. That was crazy. Could I give him a cape? I sure can give him a cape. You better believe I can. But first I'm going to make it this into a lady. So, just kind of hang there. It's going to be a lady, right? So it's kind of like, so she's going to have like the whole like lady parts and stuff like that. So she's going to be a lady curvy and stuff. So yes, and she will have a cape. She'll be a Supergirl, right? Fast I can do this thing. Right, so you have that. So you have this so much, right? So you have this. You got the little, you see that? Yeah. Now I'm going to go ahead and continue to do that. For the most part, though, you have this where I'll give this lady a cape. Yes, she will have a cape. So yeah, so what happens is like as I'm telling the story, you have the thing where, for the most part, it's like the car when the tires popped off and stuff like that. We had just gotten tires before, and they talked about this thing called the I think it's a red light, or we call it something else, because what happened right before the accident happened that we had on July 28th, 2024, right? When the accident happened, can you give him a cape? I sure can. That's right. Definitely. Please, if you like this, give me a thumbs up, by the way. Thumbs up all the way, y'all, okay? Just a thumbs up if you can, because that helps me with the algorithm. I am trying to get as many people to join my channel as possible, because I've been doing this for a number of years, and you guys like my stuff, and I like just sharing stuff, and I follow the people who follow me. So that's something there, and I just want to like continue going. But I want to build a community, and I have a school, actually, a school, SKOOL, that I'm in the process of making called Masking Tape Puppetry. Advanced Masking Tape Puppetry. So it's like, if you get a chance to see it, there's my link in my bio is there as well. For the most part, though, yes, I'm going to go ahead and give this person the full creation, right? I'm giving the cape. I'm going to make the cape just on the side, just so you can have it there, because I feel like I don't want to leave you without capes, you know what I'm saying? Even though No Incredible, she was like, no capes, so Edna said, she had no capes, because the cape gets stuck and stuff, and it makes sense when you really think about it. A cape is more dramatic. I think it's from the 1930s or something like that, when everything was mysterious and dramatic. Right? So I kind of messed it up. Let me just do that one again. Okay, make this again. Because sometimes when you do something, right, you have to make sure that the cape... See, with tape, you have to make sure you get it just right. Otherwise, it's gonna bulge funny. Right? So here goes with that. Alright, so I'll put this right here. Just for you, a quick cape. Right? Here's a quick cape. There's a quick cape, almost like one piece, right? Like that. So, okay, I'm going to continue to fill this up. So now you know there's a cape, right? For those who asked for a cape. Slenderman is dead. Here you go. Okay, now take the cable off. Continue the process. So anyway, so what happens was, like, as we were doing the thing with the car thing, we had just the tires had popped, and we'd gone through so much. We'd got used tires, and it was like, someone said to me I should have probably sued the company with the tires that we got, but I was like, at that point we did like 1,000 miles in those tires, so I don't even know if that's the case, because we got the tires in like April, May, June, July, sometime. Do all the math and all the driving, and so when it happened. I don't know. It was like the next day it happened. You know what I'm saying? It was like 4 months later it happened. April, May, June, July, right? And so what happens was, like, as we did that, I keep saying what happens. I know that's like my go-to word. I'm just gonna try not to say that happens, right? Well, okay, watch. I will use focus and not say that. So okay. So then. We have it where we didn't sue the company for the tires because we figured the tire thing was because of wear and tear. We thought maybe there's something in the road. Maybe there was a Sasquatch in the road. Maybe something happened. Maybe it's a direct energy weapon of sorts, something from from space shot us down. That's what kind of thinking. Maybe that's a possibility. But then the thing was, like, when it happened, I said it. Okay, I won't say what happens, right? So. I have to really focus not to say what happened. Kind of like my brain just goes right into that. So I'll try it again. So what occurred was that we weren't sure exactly what occurred. So we had to really focus on getting first to safety, which was like, by the grace of God, we didn't, get hit by a truck or anything like that. That was back in July of 2024. And so what ended up occurring was that we were able to actually make it safely to the hospital. And incidentally, when we made it safely to the hospital, we got a chance to meet some interesting places, and we got a chance to. A couple friends of ours came to the rescue and helped us out. So we want to shout out to our friends who helped us. Everybody who's ever helped us, we're grateful of their help, and we thank God for them. Because without them, we wouldn't be here today. So we thank God for all the people who's helped us and given us assistance and has been friends to us. And we thank God for all those people. And so it's always good to be grateful, because you never know when it's the last time you see anyone. So, and also the thing is, like, you have to kind of, like, especially with what's going on in the world today, you have to be very, very good in terms of just spending time with people that you love, because you never know when it's the last day. So last year, so new subject. We had the kids and I have been waiting forever. I put a couple pictures of that of the let me see, bring it down further. We had a couple pictures of we had this thing called the Starship Enterprise, right? Kids and I have been watching Star Trek, and so when we started watching Star Trek, it was for the sake of, like, when I grew up as a kid, I used to watch Star Trek a lot. Not too much where I became a Trekkie. I didn't want to be a Trekkie. I didn't like the whole idea of it all. I was interested in Batman the Animated Series, which came around the same time, and Jurassic Park, which was around the same time. And so when I was in high school, and in that time, I was just all about, like, just Legos and stuff, interested in that. So it was amazing that finally, after so many years, they finally merged the two of them together. They have Legos and Star Trek as a simple thing, which is amazing when you think about it, because that's the first time in all the years of Star Trek. So it's been like almost 30-something years since Star Trek, and they finally have a Lego set. Lego set that's actually made to be, a Star Trek type thing, where there you have it. You make something and it's actually cool and people like it, and they finally make a Lego set out of it. Because now they're doing all these Lego sets and stuff for nostalgia. And so as they're doing this Lego stuff with nostalgia, more people are getting into Legos and making more stuff and getting all into it. So, that's kind of the thing there. So you have that, all right? So this is a person. All right, and then so I'm going to give her some of the lady lumps that, makes her lady. Or ladylike, I guess, the lady parts. And more of the curves. And so the reason I'm making this, by the way, is because, one, it's really cool. People like to watch this, and I enjoy making this stuff. I enjoy making animation and things. As a matter of fact, one of the things I wanted to offer to my people who will watch this was, if you're interested in joining my membership, what I could do for you, which I'm going to put in writing, by the way, because it's good to have stuff in writing. If you're interested in joining my classes, right, or join my classes or join my membership, which will help me out a lot, what happens is that I will make a sculpture for you. I will make a sculpture for you for if you join. If you join my membership, right, which is like the membership is $4.99, right, and you join it for like 1 month, what I'll do, I will, I'll make anything, any sculpture for you. That's nothing that's like I won't make any politicians though, because politicians are just I don't know what they are. They're some kind of creature from some part of the darkness of human souls. But and I always believe that people shouldn't like desire to rule. I think the people who desire to rule shouldn't, and those who don't desire are the ones who should. And the reason why is because those who don't want to, like kind of like the whole thing with the whole thing with regarding you have those things with the divergent, insurgent, the collegiate, detergent, that whole thing, the insurgency thing, the divergent series, the people that are divergent and all that crazy stuff, right? We were watching that, and they were the people who didn't want to rule. I forget the name, was it abnegation or something like that? Abnegation were the rulers, and candor and the erudites were always trying to like rule them and stuff, try to get into the thing of rulership. But the ones who ruled were the abnegation. They were the ones who held everything together. But there was Candor, and there was the Dauntless team and all that. So you have all the different names of that. It's funny, I remember all that stuff, right? But it's like, as I'm just thinking about it, right? As I'm thinking about how it all works, the people who should rule are the ones that don't. Because how it occurs is that people who are in power tend to be of a certain kind of arrogant class. They believe in themselves a lot, and they believe that they can do anything except mess up. And because they do that, they tend to have a tendency to really mess up other people's lives, and they don't think of consequences and things like that. So here you have it, where people who go into power tend to be very egotistical, as well as narcissistic, as well as dangerous. And what ends up occurring is that people actually become victim to those. So you have like your opportunity as a person is that I believe one is that we have to create art. We must be art people. We must do artful stuff, because if we don't do artful stuff, what ends up occurring is that we tend to stagnate. And I believe very strongly that people are not just meant to work a job and pay bills, because I think bills and jobs were once upon a time created for the aspect of keeping people in place. And I believe that once you find out what your needs are and how to get there, you maintain. And I believe that we can all get there. Like, when you watch Star Trek, that's one of the things, the key tenets of Star Trek is that they have a society not based on money. My son and my family were talking about that yesterday. How does a society function without money, And honestly, I don't know, because I just don't understand how society can function without money. And people have tried the whole barter thing, and they kind of pointed out that how much is one thing worth versus another, and how much is this worth, how much is this thing worth compared to, this knowledge of how many years went into making this sculpture, and you go buy it from another sculptor, right? And the sculptor will be like, okay, how much does it cost, right? And he has to compare it to something. So what ends up occurring man, I say that word a lot. What is occurring is that you have to compare it to something. You have to compare it to the time that it takes to make something. It takes to compare the time that how much it's worth in the materials, the time it takes in order for education to learn how to make it, and the time, because you base it on time, So as opposed to the value it gives. So if you have something based on the value it gives, you have something that's worth something to people based upon, their value of the subject. So a person goes to work and they flip burgers, right? They make $15 an hour or something like that, right? $50 an hour for flipping burgers. They're making way more than that, obviously, because the company is not going to pay you exactly what you're worth. They're going to pay you less than what you're worth, because they have to kind of deal with all the other things like the overhead costs, the profits, managing the other team members, managing all these other things as well. So you have that where the more resources you use to make your business presentable is the more resources you have, less resources you have to pay the people. So if you were to pay the people, let's say $100 an hour, right, for them to flip burgers, right? I mean, 100, right? That means you'd have to make more than 100 just in order for you to, take care of and handle and to deal with all the extra expenses. So, like, you'd have to make more of that. It's just kind of common sense. Like, if you have your own business, right, and your own business, you have it where you want to, you want to get more advertisement. right? And the advertisement costs like $3,000 to advertise, and you only make $2,000. That means you're going to pay more money in advertisement to advertise than you do in your business, than your business actually makes. So you actually run a deficit. So if you have a company now most companies are run by billionaires and millionaires, right? But if you have your own company, let's say you have your own lemonade stand business, you want to make some lemonade, right? And you say, okay, I'm going to go get some lemonade. Now I'm not growing my own lemonade. I got to go find the lemonade, so I got to pay the cost for lemonade. Then I got to pay for the cost of like the water, to have the water, and pay for the jar that holds the water. Then I got to bring that all together, right? And I have to have the lemonade stand, so I got to take some time, get one of the kids to come do it. Say, kids, can you go do it? And the kids want their pay, and they're saying like, the episode of Boondocks that had that episode of Boondocks that did that episode with the lemonade stand, and they broke out into a riot. Oh my goodness, that was crazy. Anyway, so with that, you have this thing where you have to pay for the lemonade, right? Lemons, let's say for example, 10 for $1, right? You can put 10 lemons for $1, or 10 for $1. So out of everyone, you can make about maybe 10 cups lemonade. So you're trying to say, well, you sell it for $1, you make 10 cups of lemonade, it means $10, and it's $1 for it, so you already have $9. You understand the whole thing, all right? You don't understand what it's worth. You know where I'm going with this. For the most part, though, you have a cost analysis, and to pay the worker has to get paid after everything or before everything, and then you have to figure out exactly how much it is that you're worth. So with that, you're kind of in a situation where you have to figure out. I mean, I understand why so many artists just work by themselves and do their own artwork. Why they just do it by yourself, because you can charge whatever you want. You can say this art piece costs $5,000, and you're like, well, I don't know if that art pieces cost $5,000, because honestly, I mean, I know your experience is valuable. I realize that, and it's like, but once I buy it from you, what's the worth? What's the worth after that? It can't really be sold. Like example. Here's an example. We just got the my wife and kids and I. We just got the Starship Enterprise, right? The Enterprise D, right? Which is the one from Next Generation, the main one for all the seasons of the Next Generation until the final episode, right? It was the one, and then in the movie Generations they crashed it, right? They crashed it with a level 10 shockwave, level 12 shockwave, right? And they crashed into the planet before they were destroyed, right, by the Nexus. So long story short, what happens was that you have it where that ship was the entire 7 seasons of the Starship Enterprise, right? And the 7 seasons of the Starship Enterprise was placed into, this ship, the D. So we waited like 6 months for this ship, because what happened, I had to say it. I'd say that. What happened was, like, they had it on the shelf, and as it was on the shelf, it had to, it was on the shelf, it was like, it wasn't ready. It was back in October when I first saw it, and I was like, oh my word. I saw the Starship Enterprise. I took a picture of it. I put it on my Instagram, put it on my TikTok, right? And I showed it, and I was like, "Oh my word! I can't believe it's actually, actual here. You made this thing." I'm gonna give her some more hips, because you know what? Hips don't lie, right, Shakira? All right, the hips don't lie. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna mix some hips, because the hips don't lie. So you have this thing where okay, so like I was saying. So we waited for like 6 months for it to be available, and they took it off the shelf, and I watched it because I couldn't see it on the shelf anymore where I was, and so I was waiting for that one for a long time, for 6 months, actually 6 months waited. And so in the meantime, we kind of put some money aside, and we thought about it, and we thought about different things and how we're gonna get it, and if we're gonna get it all, and then we back and forth. We finished watching the series, and the kids were like, "Oh my goodness, Dad, we have to get this thing," and so it'd be so cool when we get it. So finally, after all this waiting, what ended up occurring was that we had to one day I went to, it had finally given up and said, "Oh well, I'll never get it. Maybe I'll find a blueprint somewhere and figure out how to 3D print it myself, because we have a 3D printer at home, and we could actually probably 3D print the whole thing. But I didn't, because you don't have an authentic set. And so the value of it is, like, according to the market value right now, it's $399. Now, I'm not about to spend $399 for no Lego set, because as much as I love Legos, there's no way I'm spending $399 for it. So I had to wait and plan and plot and figure out, how to get it for a much lesser price. And it took a lot of, like, coordination, because I didn't know when it was going to occur. So finally, one time I went for a for a gizmo thing as well. And also, I'm not paying full price for no Lego set. I'm sorry, because at the end of the day, time is money. When it comes down to you working a for time job, you can train your time for money. But there's also a thing where it's like when you do like these things, YouTube videos are awesome. Because when you do a YouTube video, this YouTube video is going to be seen 100 years from now, and this YouTube video will continue on into the future, and people will be like, "Wow, you actually sat there on live, made a structure of masking tape, and you did that while talking to the people about cars and DoorDash and about Starship Enterprises and sculpting while they're watching." And so yeah, it's be here forever. And so that's cool because that's kind of the secret of life. You have to do good if you could work once and then keep it going. So the thing is, like, back to the value of the Starship, right? You have this thing where the more you look into it, like when you buy a car brand new, they say as soon as you drive the car off the lot, it loses like majority of its value because now it's appreciated, right? So the thing is, like, something about Lego set, they said Lego sets actually appreciate by 11% if you're known to do that. So if you buy a Lego set, right, a Lego set for this year, and you hold on to it, what ends up happening is that the Lego set actually they discontinue the set. So it's not like they have any reason. It's kind of like the whole diamond industry. I mean, they can just keep making them. There's no shortage of diamonds in this world. Let me tell you, okay? There's no shortage of diamonds. Diamonds are made of coal, right? And coal is everywhere, okay? Coal is everywhere. And I gotta reply real quick. This message. It says yes. In the car. In the car, baby. All right, cool. So anyway, so what happens is like, I keep saying that, and I have to give the clues as to where I am, but I'm just not gonna go too much further. I just wanted to kind of do a couple things. I want to read a couple things to you, and I'm just gonna like end it soon, but not yet. Okay, so you hang in there. Okay, so it'll be a while. The way this works is like I had to get a bunch of discounts on it in order for me to get this. I had to get use some tip money, some money from tips. I had to use some discounts because there's an employee at the place I work. I'm an employee of the I can't say where, but I can say I'm an employee. And what occurs is that I was able to get like a good discount for the amount. And no one's listening, so I could actually say it. It got like a good 15% discount, so that's great. So with the discount, I was able to knock out a ton from it. So I was just like very happy for that opportunity. So I saved a lot of money, almost like $80 on the set. So that's great. So I was just like, man, that's perfect. Only thing I ended up paying for was the tax and for the item itself, and then also the tax for bringing it home because you had to bring that sucker home, and that took a toll on my back. But such is life. Okay, a couple things I'm gonna read to you. This is like I'm gonna make the back meat right here on this person, so it's like a little bit better. You have a little thing where you're not completely have that nice human curve, that whole curved spine thing, right? Where your spine's not too curvy. All right, we have been when we watch some Star Trek with the family and the kids and I. What we do is that we actually read the scriptures together, and one of the things we do is technical is diamond eventually, like after thousands of years under. They have a thing called cubic zirconia, right? And cubic zirconia is a man-made diamond. It is a man-made diamond. It's like, the thing is, you can find it because of pressure. You can have people digging, they'll do the whole blood diamond thing and find out what the diamonds are, or you can just pretty much. You can just say, you know what, I'm not going to mess with the whole family diamond cartel thing, and I'm going to go have another thing. I'm going to make something else. Because back in the day, they had a thing. Yes, my wife has a diamond. I got a diamond for her before I knew about the whole blood diamond thing, right? And to which, how it's what they do to people in order to get diamonds, right? And so, even though diamonds is like the most abundant thing, it's like hydrogen. It's everywhere, pretty much. You burn a tree, you got coal. You squeeze a tree, You squeeze a tree down to a little ton of pressure, a couple tons of pressure. Put that, whatever. I did that in Scrooge McDuck, right? He went to he bought coal, and he bought the peanut mines, and he had the elephant to go smashing the peanuts. We'll go get the peanuts, and they go smashing the coal. And what happened was it turned into diamonds. Now I don't know if that's 100% true, but it's kind of a cool idea. You have to have the ground as strong as thing, otherwise you just push the coal into the ground with the feet of the elephant. It had to be maybe a coal, push upon a coal, push against a piece of titanium or something to have the. I know, I'm just talking. But anyway, so the thing is just the idea of the whole situation where You can actually, it's man-made diamonds as well as, pressure-made diamonds, and still people selling diamonds when in fact diamonds are pretty much worthless. They're pretty much a worthless commodity. And here am I talking about it, right? Talking about how worthless they are, but yet people consider it's the value of it all. So when people say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get an engagement ring, and they give themselves like what, 2 months of their 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, a whole year of their wages, just so they can buy a piece of rock. So if someone becomes like vulnerable to what they want to sell, what they want to go ahead and sell, your chop your fingers off so you can get the diamond. No, that's the thing. That's the scenario. That's the situation. So you can actually make anything an engagement ring. You can make anything at all an engagement ring. So always remember that. And this is the thing. That's what the thing. So okay, back to what I was saying before about like joining my channel. If you join my channel, what I'm gonna do for you for the first 100 people who join my channel, I will make a sculpture for you. I will make a sculpture for you, right? No politicians, no devils, no religious subjects. I'm not making any this or that or religious subject. I'm not making any statues of Jesus that you're gonna worship. No, I'm not gonna make any of that, because like I've had these conversations before and people are like, are you making idols? I'm like, I ain't making idols. Do you make voodoo dolls? I do not make voodoo dolls. These are pieces of masking tape that I form into look like human beings. No, there's no sacrifices involved. No, there's no anything's involved. This is a piece of masking tape that I can form into a human shape or into animal shape or into a bird shape or predator or aliens or anything like that. You join my channel, you stay my channel for 1 month, which is like, when the first month of getting my channel, the first 100 people, I will make a structure for you and I'll send it to you, okay? For whatever thing you join my channel, you join my channel, you stay my channel, and I will give you like my members channel. A members channel, which is members only channel, which I'm gonna do more stuff on. That's where I'm coming to at this point. I also have a school. If you join my school, that's even better. Definitely be part of my community, and we'll continue to work together and do a lot of stuff together. All right. One of the things I was working on was this one. I worked on this creature here. This here is I call it the Jonah fish, the fish that ate Jonah, right? Because it's like, hello, ladies. Yes, these are my natural teeth. Okay, so what happens? I keep saying what happens. So these are my. So I'm gonna go soon, and I want to show you this. And we're reading the book of Jonah. I want to thank you so much for watching, and there's more to be made of this, of course. More to be made of that person, more structure and everything like that. But I want to thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and I wish you God bless. And my next big class I'm gonna have is on Tuesday, so definitely get in contact with me. I have to get going soon, so I'm gonna say thank you so much. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you so much for watching. All right, have a good day.